everybody.
And welcome to
Stay Cool Forever, the podcast where we are deconstructing 90s genre films and deciding how cool they are today.
Yeah, as well as how they fit through watching them in a 2018 lens. Really mucked up through that one.
No, that's it. That's the point. I'm Wade.
I'm Zach.
We're your hosts. We're just going to kind of discuss things, not putting too much political science or gravity on it, but just the things that stood out to us as, people living in 2018.
Yeah, just a couple of regular dudes watching movies.
Yeah.
But, we're choosing 90s movies, and again, as always, this month we were watching Rom-Coms.
Yeah, so if you're going in order, we went through Beautiful Girls.
Oh, Sliding Doors.
Sliding
Wasn't
Doors.
that first? Yeah. Then Beautiful Girls.
And then Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah.
And this one was probably my personal favorite, not because it was the greatest quality movie or script, but because I had a lot of fun with it, and I like Brendan Fraser's 90s movies.
Yeah, I think I said it in the last one that Four Weddings and a Funeral was my favorite, but this one was fun.
Yeah.
It was
just zany
fun.
And cartoony and kind of had a lightheartedness that the others did not have to this point.
I feel like we need movies like this now. Ones that are
We do still get them, but I think it's shifted to rated R comedies. Like ever since The Hangover, now you've got Game Night, Tag, you have really big pratfall stunt work, big gross out humor.
Those are all movies I avoid.
Yeah, they're enjoyable, but you kind of know exactly what you're going to get, and it is really lowbrow stuff. Quality actors, usually, but I feel like
they get big names, yeah.
They're like what the Adam Sandler movies were to us. Like, these are R-rated movies for teenagers, probably.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a great point. For sure.
Yeah.
I would watch a movie that was an action film over a comedy, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had to choose between one of a movie that came out now, because a lot of those comedies are pretty pointless, I guess I'd rather get Pointless Murder.
Yeah. But speaking of pointless comedies, this one certainly it does have its historical commentary, being about Cold War, communist paranoia, nuclear fallout. But beyond that, it's not saying a ton. A lot of 90s surface level generalizations, which we'll dig into.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely solid. Definitely had the 1950s thing. I mean, if we're gonna start with the Cold War era thing, do you think there were any plane crashes that day? That had gone around and people maybe were gonna go run into their basements.
I meant to look up if this was based on a true story.
Me too.
It couldn't possibly be. But that idea, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt has the same thing of people in fallout shelters coming out,
Oh, yeah?
decades later. That, just the fish out of water kind of story.
Oh, okay.
But I'm wondering if
I thought that was exactly what that show was about.
Kimmy Schmidt?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is?
Not nuclear fallout, but some doomsday. They she was living in a fallout shelter for 20 years or something.
Oh, that's why she's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I saw one episode of that in the middle of some season and thought I should go back to this, but I was pretty heavy into New Girl, and there's really only one of those shows.
Yeah, there's only room for one.
Okay.
But yeah, that's hence her lighthearted, spunky, energy from a bygone time.
Well, very Brendan Fraser in this movie, then.
Absolutely. Oh, Blast from the Past. I'm sure it was on the name of this episode, but that's the movie we're doing.
Yeah.
This was a 99 movie directed by Hugh Wilson, who you may recognize from Dudley Do Right.
Oh, he did Dudley Do Right?
Another Brendan Fraser vehicle. Oh. And First Wives Club.
I saw that.
That's the only other one I saw.
Yeah.
And then 14 years ago was the last IMDb credit he has.
Well, God bless him.
But on the Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 57.
I thought it would be higher.
Me
Considering too. Beautiful Girls and Sliding Doors being so high,
so highly rated.
You would definitely think that people like this movie. Because I've told people that I watched Blast from the Past, and everyone has a fond memory of this one.
Yeah, it's like The Mask, or one of those 90s movies that we all saw at the right age, and it was just a good time.
It's just sweet all the way through. I mean, in 1999, maybe people were probably actually worried about Y2K. I was a little bit younger than you, but I was legitimately concerned.
No, we were as well.
Because I was like, hey, what if the computers go back? And when you think about it, what does that even mean?
And computers as we know them today and what we knew them as in 99, like what damage could they have done? Like the nuclear silos in this country are still operating on like floppy disks. So
Did you know, actually, I read this recently, that the nuclear codes right now are still operating on a code name sort of basis? Like the president has to call someone and say, cottage cheese. And
that like
person,
the eagle has landed kind of shit? Okay.
Literally. And there's no like secret anything. It's just you have to know the code word. There's no button, there's no nothing.
Wow.
And it's a code word that changes repeatedly. Which is kind of a fun
like old school cloak and dagger way of dealing with nuclear weapons.
But this is still how they're doing it because they're like, we don't need to change it. We're not really going to use them.
And this way is classy.
Yeah.
It makes the whole thing seem more fun, No one wants to think about dropping A-bombs, so
yeah,
we'll make a game out of it.
Well, so the quote-unquote A-bomb that fell on the Brendan Fraser house in this movie was, in fact, just a rogue Air Force plane.
Yeah, just like a routine,
military,
exercise, and his plane malfunctioned. He had to take her down in the middle of a suburb.
I know, of all places.
Like,
Those go so fast.
There was some
he could have
place,
gone anywhere else.
Yeah, the idea of a crash landing where I'm going to fly straight up and then eject and then let the thing fall straight down. Like, wouldn't you try to, land it over water or something?
I think this is the one major problem with this movie, despite being totally surface level, is that it's entirely beholden to certain intricacies of the plot.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, the house got blown up, but they wouldn't have found bodies because the plane crashes on their house. They go to the bomb shelter. So wouldn't they be like, oh, no bodies? They're probably in their bomb shelter because he was a crazy paranoid. Yeah, he was a doomsday prepper.
And they all knew he was because they were at the party at the beginning before John F. Kennedy came out and said that there was going to be.
Yeah, they're listening to the broadcast of the crisis and. He's like, you better leave the party so I can go in the bomb shelter. Like, I think he wanted to.
Oh, for sure.
And, that's a condition of those types of people. Not to, broadly generalize, but his character certainly, wanted to be right, even if it meant worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he had spent so much time on it. And didn't he lost his job, right, at Caltech? Because he wanted to devote his efforts and time into building that bomb shelter.
Yes. And I gotta say, I loved Christopher Walken in this role, especially when he's just doing his flipping out over like, oh God, the bombs are dropping, it's all happening, just really hamming it up like in a classic Christopher Walken way.
Very Christopher Walken-y. There's no Me Too, right, with Christopher Walken, is there?
Oh God, I hope not. Not to my knowledge.
Okay, good.
I've heard weird old Hollywood rumors, but
well, he's a weirdie for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just freaked out a little bit. Because you never know these days.
So we're clear on that, to the best of our knowledge. Yeah. As of this recording.
As you know, we're not experts, but you're welcome to fact check us.
Yeah, you're gonna get B minus accuracy from us.
It's better than a C.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start in this? What do you think?
Could do a quick rundown or just kind of go through the story chronologically since we've established the parents, Calvin and Helen, Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek. Mm-hmm. He's the doomsday prepper and he hears the broadcast, empties the house, goes to the bomb shelter, and then this rogue plane that had to crash lands right on his house. So they think,
oh shit, the bombs are dropping.
We got to stay down here for 35 years?
Yeah, well, he locks the door, and she goes, what's that sound? And then he says, well, 35 years is how long we have to stay down here. Yeah. Apparently she was unawares to the 35 years. And so the premise then continues, and then lo and behold, they have a baby, and it ends up being Brendan Fraser, and of course he's named Adam.
Because he's going to be tasked with, leaving
repopulating
the shelter when the nuclear winter is over and find a wife, repopulate. Yeah, so he's getting a classical education from his dad.
Yeah, learns 4 languages. He's a master at math, science, and history.
Learns how to box. Learns how to dance. Mm-hmm. Can't get baseball though,
which I think is an interesting thought. Having to only listen to baseball. Did they not have any of it televised in the 50s?
That I don't know.
Because they did have recordings of things. Mm-hmm. Did they not record maybe the World Series? That's an interesting caveat.
There was like the one show they watched, and they listened to a lot of like Dean Martin, and then reruns of like The Honeymooners or something.
What was the name of that show? Some old talk show, some variety show, and then Christopher Walken anecdotally goes, they're gonna be talking about this show for years, and we can't even remember the fucking name of it.
Yeah.
And so they stay down there. He gets a great education, and then... Go ahead.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say about their fallout shelter, they designed it to look like the house, so they'd be less claustrophobic about it. Mm-hmm. But, trying to pull back the curtain and see behind the movie magic, having been on a studio tour, I was thinking to myself, okay, so the house set that they used for the house, then they just pull back, so now you have a house set in a warehouse. So kind of like dual purpose for the set as a set.
Wow, it's actually pretty good.
I don't know.
I'm sure they did that.
Yeah, I think about that stuff.
Yeah. I've never been on a set. No, I'm not a Hollywood person.
Oh, you gotta go on one of the tours. They're fun.
I guess I should. I've been on the one where King Kong attacks and Jaws comes out. Have you never done that at Universal
Studios?
Studios?
Oh, the tram? No, absolutely. Yes. They've, I've seen the Kong stuff. I've seen the Fast and the Furious.
I haven't seen that. The Fast and the Furious is new.
It's interesting. I think the most enjoyable part is the videos and like the hologram videos of the actors. Like,
oh wait, that was the Fast and Furious one?
Yeah.
Oh my god! When growing up, it was T2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the metal Terminator would go around you and shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
Awesome.
I had prom there one year.
At Universal Studios?
Yeah.
How?
They rented out after hours.
Wow. So did you get to use the whole park and then have a room for like the dancing and stuff?
Yeah. You got to go around the whole park and do stuff, and then at a certain point they limited you to an area, but you still could pretty much go around the park, like go down to where Jurassic Park is and up to where that 3D or T2 show is.
And the rides were all like going? Did they have
up
staff?
To a certain point? They had some staff, and then when it was time, you could get into the prom area. Wow. And they kicked everybody else out.
Did they have like I forget what characters they have there.
They didn't have any of those guys.
So none of the like Shrek or the Mummy like walking around taking pictures with you.
Oh, holy shit! Maybe. I don't remember. If my mom's listening, I was high.
Help your son remember. Surely there are photographs.
Yep. I think my biggest qualm. Actually, we'll continue going. So they end up leaving the shelter in 35 years, and their house turns into a strip mall of boarded up porno shops and a bar.
Yeah, they build a soda shop, like a ice cream malt milkshake shop or whatever above. So they're down there, raising their baby, teaching him all these languages and how to box and baseball. And meanwhile, up top we see the time passing by, where the soda jerk character is happy in the 60s working at this soda shop. And then a little time passes, and he's into some kind of flower power drug disco 70s movement. You sort of gradually see his brain break,
deteriorate due to the drugs.
And by the 90s, he has what appears to be a sun tattoo, like right on his forehead. Like maybe he was in a cult for a while.
Definitely.
And his brain is completely like
fried egg.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting that soda shop now fucked up, transient looking bar. He ends up getting it from his mother, and things aren't going so well. He's even more strung out.
Yeah, and basically, by the time Brendan Fraser comes to the surface, this is just an abandoned building that he's like squatting in.
And then Brendan Fraser exits, and it turns into. Brendan Fraser must be some sort of god coming up from the ground, and the fried egg soda jerk
instantly latches onto that as the most meaningful thing in his life. And throughout the movie, you see that he kind of builds a religion around it, and other transient peoples start squatting with him in the basement. They build shrines to
which is fun.
No, yeah,
which is a testament to how fun the movie was.
It was just really silly, and everyone goes along with it because Brendan Fraser knows nothing. He's just positive. He's got that old charm about him.
1950s charm.
But he's also expecting the radioactive hellscape, which I guess we're to believe a 90s ghetto. This is Pasadena.
So that's my biggest qualm with this thing is how are they going to really sell Pasadena, home of homes and shit, home of the roses, as a 21st century or late 20th century hellscape. Come on.
Yeah. And you're a native, so I don't know how accurate any of that is.
The one thing that was most accurate, so downtown Pasadena used to not be nice until they put the parking meters out. Then there was a big parking infrastructure, and they used that money and refunneled it into the downtown Pasadena that it is now. Before then, it was way less developed and way less hip, so less traveled. And so it ended up getting nicer. The one thing that was very true is East Pasadena is kind of a little bit of a red light district. So seeing the hookers and the transvestite hookers is a little characteristic of Pasadena at that time.
No, I forget. Did Christopher Walken go up first? And he freaked the fuck
He
out
freaked
because
out.
he saw the porno shop and the hooker tried to solicit him.
He ended up getting sick, and then he was stuck down there, and then that's why Brendan Fraser had to go up.
Yeah, because he came back from his first experience with the 90s, ghetto LA, and, had a, panic fit or, oh, my heart, and then Brendan Fraser was tasked with, going to get him medicine and helping.
Being the 7-year-old in the 35-year-old's body.
Yeah. But he tells him that if you see a porno shop, it's poison gas that you can't smell or see.
That's right.
To try to keep him out. And
That's
I just
right.
want to say, the porno shop said CD-ROM on the window, which really cracked me up. That anybody, would have a CD-ROM player and be buying porno on it, because that was a very short-lived and expensive technology that became obsolete pretty quickly.
My God, you're right. More so than just DVD. Did this predate the DVD? Are you aware of this? When did the DVD come out?
Shit, I don't know. Someone fact check us on this.
I'm looking.
I would guess it's around the time.
I'd ask the Amazon device in here, but I'm not trying to be a billboard.
If I remember being in high school in the late 90s, DVDs were just becoming a thing, because Gladiator came out, and it's that was one of the first DVDs that my family got, so it definitely had to be around that time.
Holy shit, the first DVD player was released in Japan by Pioneer in late 1999.
Wow.
Full-fledged players came out in July 2000, and guess how much they were?
500?
700 to 1200.
Oh my god! But they're VCRs now. You can get them for $20.
Shit, probably less. Wow, that's fucking amazing. So then that means when this movie came out, it for sure came out on VHS in Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yep. So they really, there's those movies that come out just at the time, right before the technology makes a certain facet of it really obsolete.
And it's actually kind of interesting considering that the movie is indicative of all dead technology.
Mm-hmm. Any other examples off the top of your head?
Of dead technology?
Or from this movie, something that was really dated?
I don't remember the song title, but Brendan Fraser's song choice in the car when they were on the oldie station, and he's like, wait, hold on, let's play this, when he's in the car with Eve.
Oh, yeah.
And it's some 50s fucking jumping, driving kind of swag.
Yeah. A lot of swing revival songs in this.
Which is also indicative of the time, which actually is the perfect example of a dead technology that happened in
there
this
you go,
movie.
something that, it did work strangely in this one because he was from that time where it would be more familiar to him. We're going to take you to a old themed dance club where they're playing swing music, something that...
Oh my god.
Where he would kind of be in his element, but it only would have worked in the late 90s.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I don't know that there are many clubs like that.
This movie is in fact a representation of the late 90s, through and through. Was there too much grunge? I don't think there really
wasn't
was.
A ton. There was a REM song, a Dishwalla song.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of that late 90s, I guess maybe after grunge's heyday, because there was an Everclear song. There was that god-awful Tommy Henriksen song that we listened to before recording.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Just the kind of, odd one-hit wondery stuff that had tried to... It was getting poppy, grunge was being a little more funneled through the commercial, music channels. So it got weird. And,
so it definitely got weird.
the soundtrack to this is super dated from that perspective because you have
Oh,
a few
yeah.
grunge bands, like maybe REM, like stood
R.E.M.
the
still
test,
holds
and like
up.
there's a Randy Newman song, like
Which
that
is
guy's
okay.
pretty classic. But the rest of it is really like only stuff you would have heard on the radio in the late 90s, and you're probably, unless you're looking for it, you would never come across it again.
Yeah, I think you're correct. You would have to seek it out. Weren't you saying?
A lot of the artists on the soundtrack I can't find them on Spotify.
That's wild.
So I'm wondering if it was a one-hit wonder situation. I can find all the swing revival,
Interesting.
all the nut zippers and the poppin' daddies, but
I'm gonna tell you, I think that if we were to, do a research paper on some of these movies, you really could dive in pretty deep on like what the fuck happened to these bands, the members of the bands. Did they go somewhere else? Did they join other bands? What happened?
Producers,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
investors, or are they working at Fry's?
For example, Chris Novoselic, the bass player of Nirvana. He's just some rich guy who works in some sort of business format.
That's
Do you
right.
remember that?
I forget what it was, but I saw him like in a suit, and he's just...
No, it was a non-profit, I believe. Wasn't that the case?
What was it from, though?
Fuck,
We're
I
probably
have no
thinking
idea.
of the same thing.
We watched it together.
Okay.
Yeah. But, that's what happened to some of these guys. They grew up and were like, well...
I got a little money, maybe I'll like change careers while I can.
Maybe we should get a job.
Yeah.
Seems grunge is being co-opted.
Yeah, they all learned from MC Hammer's mistakes. No mansion, no golden pants, just maybe a trade school, business degree.
Go become a journeyman electrician. To that end, I'll admit a lot of those careers, even in the late 90s, you can't get now.
Yeah. Like,
you couldn't go to trade
not
school.
relevant, or they're like outsourced.
Might be able to have gotten by with a fucking liberal arts degree back then.
Yeah. It's like Willie's door-to-door salesman
Yep.
plan.
Selling typewriters,
what is that? Like, selling typewriters.
That's exactly what I think of every time. Go ahead.
Could you imagine if that was Brendan Fraser's one skill coming out? Like, if the movie hinged all of his like ability to be successful, not on being multilingual or like a charming, capable man, but like
selling typewriters.
Only, yep.
He knows a lot about the ribbon. It's the ribbon that makes a typewriter. Just saying. From a typewriter background. That's what I thought of when in Willie and Beautiful Girls had that business job. He was going to be a typewriter salesman.
Sure.
Going door to door. What a fucking joke. I don't think there was much that was problematic about this movie. I liked that there was the Barry White sort of revolution that had happened. I think that was the Soda Jerk guy. Barry White starts playing and everyone starts making out with each other like it was the first time Barry White had ever gotten played, and that was the 70s, like love each other.
So that was the catalyst of
60s.
like a free love in 70s, no condoms generation.
The liberation, yeah.
I did find there was a couple, to a degree, problematic things. Mainly just like, when Brendan Fraser first comes out, he's like, look, the sky, it's the sky, little girl. And he's like, holy smokes, a Negro.
Oh,
but she's cool with it because he's just so charming and like clearly an idiot or someone who doesn't know any better.
Correct. Which, I mean, it wasn't offensive, and it did seem like they're playing the part of a 50s boy.
Yeah, and he's never seen anything before.
Yeah,
and has a vocabulary that's really outdated, so we're not going to hold it against him.
Yeah, and then there seems to be some sort of... The way they kind of describe how he's got to go out and get a woman is pretty women as property kind of trope.
Sure, and go kidnap a wife, son, and bring her back to our dungeon,
to
our home in the basement.
Seriously.
Which when he eventually explains that to Eve is like as terrifying, and that's what she's hearing is like, oh, this is an insane person who wants to take me to their dungeon.
I'm dying tonight.
So I guess we'll get into how he stumbles upon Eve. He's looking for help, looking for money, looking for a Holiday Inn, because that's where he was told to try and stay.
Yes.
Brought to you by Holiday Inn.
Yeah, totally.
And U-Haul had a pretty heavy presence. So, but he's looking for someone to help him get supplies, because he's thinking, his dad's thinking, we got to stay down here another 20 years. The world's too messy. Because Dad only saw the weird ghetto and the porno store.
And not the
junkies,
beauty.
And like Brendan Fraser got out of it a bit, so he goes to try and sell a baseball card,
That's right.
At this, just,
At a baseball card shop.
which has one really angry, shitty guy, and he has a, I guess, late teens, like early 20s young girl working there, because I just was like, why does he need an assistant? Like, how much
You're
money?
just running a baseball
How
card
much money
shop,
is in this that you hire someone to help you out?
to work minimum wage.
Yeah.
A few hours of the week. Yeah, and then so he tries to sell a card, and then he undercuts him pretty severely, and then says he'll give him like $500 for the whole lot of the baseball cards, and these are all baseball cards that his father had collected in the fucking 50s.
Yeah, so they're all like rookie cards that are, worth thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
Fucking Mickey Mantle, whatever. And so the Eve ends up selling out the shopkeeper and telling him that one card he was trying to sell is worth thousands.
So then she gets fired. There's something problematic. I'm pretty sure her boss, when firing her, gave her the whole like, you can't hold down a job, you can't hold down a man, you're a wild, independent 90s woman.
That's
like,
right.
Came down on her pretty hard, hitting her character.
And then anyway, they end up selling some of the cards, and then he ends up paying Eve to help him shop for things.
That's kind of the agreement that she, takes him to the Holiday Inn. He gives her the baseball card as a payment, and she's like, nah, I feel guilty, this poor sucker. So he's like, well, you can help me out, and I'll pay you. I need supplies, and I need to find a wife.
Yeah.
And she's like, how does $1,000 a week sound? And I guess he doesn't know what money is, because...
Correct.
I guess...
He's never had to pay for anything.
His dad must have been so loaded, though. If they're 60s money, if they can throw that around.
Regardless, I guess there was no point to teach him value of money, because maybe you thought it was going to be a hellscape where money wasn't really going to count for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then they incidentally have all the IBM stock and all that crazy shit at the end that makes him a millionaire.
Which is nice.
I guess Dad wouldn't have sold off all his stocks, They were kind of in a rush
amount of time,
to escape the nuclear holocaust, so that tracks that he might have just had stocks. I'll go with that.
That tracks. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the love story unfolds.
Yeah, it's basically like a friend zone situation where she's like a little creeped out by him, but she has this like, you want to talk problematic, like depiction of women to a certain extent in what the main characters are capable of, because Mom is just drunk. Like she's stir crazy. She's been stuck in this bunker forever. And she's like drinking consistently and just worried about her sanity and her husband the whole time.
Yeah, well, and of course she hits the cooking sherry. She can't just be a drinker. She's got to be, a 1950s woman.
Yeah, just constantly baking, like leaning into those old school woman sensibilities. But the heavy drinking. And with Alicia Silverstone's character, Eve, you've got this surface level 90s like rebellious woman that like, oh, she's not gonna commit, or like boys just don't get me, they all like get too attached and I gotta be free in me.
Yeah.
But she's like a little cynical about it too.
Naturally, doesn't she end up getting hurt?
Her shitty boyfriend Nathan Fillion.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Cliff, I believe.
Nathan Fillion. Good God. That's fucking right. Who's now is some sort of cop.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing well.
He's the rookie.
That's what it's called. This guy knows his billboards.
Which it was on all the buses for a while. And I was very confused. I'm like, how is a 40-year-old Nathan Fillion a rookie? But they totally address it in the show.
Oh, do they really? Have you seen this show?
Nope. I saw a commercial where they were like, a 40-year-old rookie. I'm like, oh, good. Someone else noticed that seemed off. I'm like, surely we're not selling him as a young man.
Oh, okay.
But he's a good American cop nonetheless.
This is propaganda.
Probably.
This is just propaganda. I take very real offense. She's just a bad driver. Like a very dangerous driver.
LA driving.
And, yeah.
That joke's gotta be...
Come on.
It's always there.
Do we need that? I don't think we're bad drivers out here. People suck.
Well, it's a city. Like, look at I don't know, like France or Paris or something. Or
that's gotta be terrible.
Any other country.
Yeah.
A giant fucking city. There like are no laws.
India's is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delhi was awful.
I think LA has a lot of grace by comparison.
Come on,
Even
yeah.
if there's gridlock and people speeding,
No horn
like,
honking as much.
we all know what's going on. No one's driving.
Yeah. You take you cut someone off, you're gonna get cut off later. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
It's gonna get cut off.
You don't hit anyone, but if you got to get close to move your ass, make that left turn.
To make that left turn, the 2 in the hole, right? When it turns red, if you're out there, just go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought like Eve. While I enjoyed Alicia Silverstone in this role, I wouldn't say that she's an amazing actress, but certain roles suit her.
Yeah.
Kind of abilities, and I thought, in that '90s, irreverent, independent woman kind of way, like it was enough for me.
She nailed it.
It wasn't written brilliantly, but she did a fine job.
Yeah. I think Alicia Silverstone nailed it. I think they all nailed it. It was everyone kind of nailed their role. Brendan Fraser clearly was the fish out of water. He did a great job. It wasn't too racy. It wasn't too deep, but it was overall made me feel really good. It was a sweet movie, like a sweet Brendan Fraser.
I think that's a key to a lot of the movies he did at the time. Like I'm trying to think of some others.
The Mummy, Encino Man,
just like fish out of water. Okay, so like Encino Man,
okay.
George of the Jungle, and this because there's something about he's really good at acting. Like he's seeing things for the first time.
And he's a boyish sort of charm with everything.
Yeah, and all these characters lean towards like peaceful. It's never like I'm scared or ragey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just the sweetest fucking like a little boy.
Yeah,
like a sweet little boy that just is
it's
wants
true.
to be everyone's friend and would never hurt a fly.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about how all his other movies he does play the same role.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know what happened to Brendan Fraser?
I think some article I read maybe a year ago had an in-depth interview with him. I think he hurt himself doing a lot of the stunt work, on the Mummy and stuff. And I think it kind of took a toll on his body. And I think he went through a divorce pretty soon after he was top billed, like 90s heyday. And I think that was just kind of rough on him, dealing with his medical condition and
No way.
And I think there was something about at the time he got divorced, he was making X amount of money, so he had to keep paying that amount out in child support or alimony, and then he wasn't making that kind of money anymore.
And he stopped getting getting roles.
This is paraphrasing of something I read a while ago, but it's something to that effect.
That's accurate. That's bro science.
Yeah.
Don't fact check us.
All right.
Or do.
But Brendan, we love you and wish you the best. No offense taken. This is all just...
I'd love to see a serious Brendan Fraser role.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys that I think is due to come back.
Yeah.
Because when you turn into the Silver Fox and you get the dramatic roles.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Mike Myers to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Zachary wants it. I need something. I'm sure he's a serious actor and can do something good.
Yeah, and he can kind of reel in the, racial, making fun of little people kind of stuff that his vehicles were most characterized by.
He was the smarter version of Adam Sandler.
Going with the wordplay and the puns.
Yeah.
Instead of the raunch. But still the raunch.
Still the
Fat
raunch.
Bastard was...
I love Fat Bastard. That's such a great character. Totally wouldn't fly in today's climate.
Yeah. I miss movies where actors play all the roles.
Yeah.
Like the Clumps and Tyler Perry. It's the only thing in recent memory.
Oh my god.
Or Jack and Jill did that, but
We're gonna do an Adam Sandler. So, side note here, 4 episode series is Nick Cage.
Absolutely.
Sam Jackson.
Definitely.
Which we decided today. I think we said Adam Sandler would be a good one.
We should.
I do think we might be able to get away with a Mike Myers, and then you can finally watch that fucking
Love Guru.
No. So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that in decades.
Legit one of my favorite movies. I still watch it maybe once a year.
Wow.
Yeah. That theme song, that There She Goes. That's a great song.
Yeah.
That's so great, in fact, that I watch that stupid fucking movie once a year. And he plays multiple characters in that one as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have any fun quotes from this?
Nope. Nothing in the way of quotes.
Yeah, I've got a couple. is this okay or too liberal? Which I thought felt like a little bit of an attack, but I don't think they meant that in 1999.
Yeah, maybe just conservative values would, yeah.
And then, oh, look, angry when Eve was getting mad. Brendan Fraser was just like, oh, look, she's getting angry. Yeah, that's it, actually.
I actually did have one quote I found. It's the soda jerk when he first meets God, Brendan Fraser, or Christopher Walken. But he says, "Can you forgive me for my wasted life?"
Oh.
That's the first thing that this burnout former cult member says when he meets God. I know I wasted my life, bro. Can you forgive me?
Forgive me. I think my favorite scene was the ocean scene.
Remind me of this one, because I wrote something down about it, but we watched it a couple weeks ago.
It was so weirdly triumphant. So she takes him to the ocean because he's never been to the ocean or swam in a pool or anything. And he goes in there in his 90s regalia, and he just, like, walks in, and he's splashing around like it's the fucking whale movie, you know, and having a bunch of fun. And it was, like, probably the most triumphant scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, I'm sure the score is swell, and Eve's reaction, and
it's just cute. Yeah, and as if that's the reward, you know, at the end of the movie, like the real wow, jolly gee. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's so simple. It's just one of those, like, you're free, boy, run. Like,
yeah. It was adorable.
We're not viewing him as like an adult man so much as a child.
Correct. Yeah.
I did another one quote that I remember that I've been thinking about a lot lately was, someone calls out Adam on his, polite manners and his weirdly dated speech, and he's like, well, my dad always said manners are a way of letting other people know we respect them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never heard that phrasing of it. It's such a, like, old school sensibility, but I'm like, yeah, that is what they are, right?
Wow, and we have been harping on that.
Oh, sure, yeah. A new segment of the thing that pissed us off this week.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Wade and I work together, and we happen to endure some of the same people who have no respect for other people, e.g. a lack of manners.
Well, we live in and work in the big city. We got to go downtown and take elevators, and we're a part of the rat race, We're seeing
part of the rat race,
seeing the world 9 to 5.
And so anyway, there's a real lack of manners, and I didn't realize that's what you've been referencing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, just
that's my main point here.
Because I don't know. I grew up in the country, so I had weird, outdated manners too. That got noticed. Like, wow, like that. What a polite young boy. And I was like, well, shit. That's just all I know.
That's how we do. Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah, not everywhere.
What you thinking?
See, I've found with a lot of the discussions we have, there's just weird shit that I have written down that there's really no place to discuss.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to just, lightning round, like, just some, like, random thoughts you had going through it, or, like, little things that stuck out to you that might not warrant a larger conversation.
Okay. You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think the sex life was like for the parents?
Oh, gosh.
It's gotta be weird.
I mean, he was pretty calculated, probably non-existent, right? Because that's another mouth to feed. You have to consider your resources, like how much fallout shelter you had. I thought that was pretty weird.
I agree.
I thought Brendan Fraser would have been ejaculating the whole time. Because he's
consistent coming.
Never been with... There was just one scene where they were talking... and he's like, oh, I live in a fallout shelter with my parents. I want to bring you back to them. But at some point, maybe probably before he said that, where she, like, touched his knee. And I'm like, yeah, how is he not... this dude... Who knows if he even knows about sex or how to masturbate? Like, he was living in a bunker with his parents the whole time.
And I'm not going to ask that.
No, go ahead. We'll edit it out if it's too much.
Just the... I didn't know the first time that I masturbated. I just did it. Like, it happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of an autopilot. Just like a deer is born knowing how to walk
it's
when you're 13
happen
or whatever,
at some point.
Or younger.
Yeah. I was 6.
Something's happening.
Just kidding. But
I was 2.
Oh, yeah, well, I was 1.
I stole some porno CD-ROMs from my pops.
Yeah, that's something I haven't thought about in a long time, is how did I know? Apparently you just know. So he probably knew, and I bet his room smelled like cum. That fucking smell of a teenage boy, it's like dirty gym socks and cum. It's pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
What if the Cuban Missile Crisis did go south and JFK didn't die? Do you think we'd get Trump?
Did you watch, oh fuck, it's like 11/22/60 something. That it was like a James Franco movie that came on Netflix a couple years ago.
Oh no, there was a much older version of a movie that came out in probably early 2000s that was about the Cuban Missile Crisis that I saw.
Okay.
But it was like straight military, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never seen this movie. What about it?
It's a Stephen King short series, like 6-episode series about a dude who, he's a Stephen King, just is like, here's something wacky, run with it. Yeah. So there's a time portal, like, in the back of some shop. And
I've always... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's just the whole point is some guy that, like, has been visiting the past over and over, and he's like, we got to stop JFK from getting killed. That's the only way to fix things. So he sends Franco back to do it, but every time he dies or comes back, it resets. So he'll go change something, come back, see what happened, but then if he goes back in, it undoes that, and he's like starting over from square one.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's living these like 2 years in the 60s over and over and over, trying to get to the point where he can like prevent or investigate the JFK assassination. Like,
oh, wow.
If you like Stephen King, it's like a very well produced show. Like, it's
First
pretty
of
interesting.
all, love Stephen King. Second of all, I've always seen that book, and I've always been like, that one looks too long, my man.
Yeah.
That one definitely looked like it was too long. I'm all for Stephen King, but now I probably might read that.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
It's a good watch, too. I think maybe it was Hulu.
Okay.
But,
I'll check it out.
It's out there somewhere. But what if the Cuban Missile Crisis did go south?
Yeah, what if they had missiles and launched them? I have a feeling...
We'd have never been born.
Oops.
Oh, here's one for you. Warm Dr. Pepper.
Oh, yeah!
That's like Chris Walken's go-to, where he's like, give me a glass of warm Dr. Pepper
well,
to calm my nerves.
I bet you he does drink that in real life. Let's be honest here.
We should put that in the movie. That's fucking weird, you old weirdo.
Spiky hair, thank God that died in the 90s.
Are we talking about Frosted Tips?
Both.
A la Sugar Ray?
All of it, yeah.
Did you ever have that? Or
I definitely had spiky hair. I had it for maybe about like 3 days out of a school week. I think I was in 3rd grade trying to reinvent. And I just couldn't make it happen. So I just stopped. And that was pretty much where my haircut went up until I was 19. I had the same haircut from like 3rd grade to 19. And then 19, I changed my haircut and I've just kind of had varying lengths of what I have now.
Yeah.